The new regime there has discovered $5 billion of questionable rental assistance, including payments to 30,000 deceased. I mean, we can pretty much say that's uncalled for. At the very least, it's waste, if not fraud.
Were they all out of California? Because I know in California we're big fans of dead people voting,
yes,
and being able to buy homes. I'm not surprised with anything that goes on, right, or what they're finding with this fraud right now. And coming from California, living there for almost 20 years, you see they just passed a bill a few years ago that would allow illegals to own a home and get a $20,000 to $50,000 grant, basically, from the state, and that's the state coffer. They've opened up Medicare, Medicaid, Medi-Cal to illegals that are there. Everything we're seeing right now, you see the people who have been screaming the loudest to stop DOGE, screaming the loudest to stop, the federal government from looking into who's getting food stamps. And now it makes a lot of sense. Who doesn't want, Trump's government to look behind the curtain, look under the hood? Because I believe when Trump said months into his presidency that we have something that will destroy the Democrats. Look around, guys. It's not just in Minneapolis. It's not just in Ohio. And to my friend's point, it's definitely not just in New York. Let's go out to Gap and State, and I guarantee that may be the white whale.
But the problem, Siaka, in New York and in California and in Illinois is that most of the opposition party, the loyal opposition, the Republicans, have left the state because it's such a business unfriendly environment. Also because in the case of Illinois and New York, it's more pleasant to live in Florida for most of those folks. But with all of the Republicans leading, who's going to lead the charge of investigating other than the federal government? I mean, there are very few people like Jake here.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you guys, and just like in California, we had such a shift. If you look at the last election, everything shifted at least 3 to 4 points to the right. I think when people start to really feel this, I've been watching online and different podcasters, people are upset to the point where they're starting to call for, hey, do we boycott taxes this year? I don't know if that's going to happen, but what I do know, that sentiment is alive and real. People are getting angrier and angrier. The more it comes out with how much that you're working your butt off and it's being stolen, and then they're laughing at you at that, and then they're turning around and calling the other guy a bad guy. No, I see the more that's revealed, the more people, regardless on where you are, this is affecting those Democrats that vote Democratic as well, right? So these people have to wake up and decide, is it going to be another $24 billion lost in homelessness in California, or are we actually going to help the people we say that we want to help?
Yeah. Well, Jake, Mamdani notwithstanding, I mean, he's a big bump in the road of getting some real action here, but do you find that there is more of a sentiment, the more people find out about how corrupt the governments have been as a uniparty state like New York has become, that they may switch over?
There has been more of a sentiment, and there is tools we have to fight back, even in a minority in a state like New York or in a state like California.